All right, today we're going to cover some processing basics and just talk about the help system. So I'm going to open up processing, which I just did basically, and I won't bother doing draw and setup there. But basically, the help system is pretty good, and it's quite straightforward. It's stored, if you've downloaded processing, it's stored locally on your hard drive. So if you're not connected to the internet, you still have access to the help system. But also there, it's a very identical or pretty much identical help system online as well. So let's type in something simple like RECT, something like that. I think you need to put in the parentheses, otherwise it won't light up. It doesn't turn blue. If it doesn't turn blue, it won't recognize it. So the rect function, if I highlight that and I right click it and then I go find in reference, it will bring up a help system and it'll tell me all about the rect function. And it says draws a rectangle to the screen, blah, 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 four-sided shape. And then it tells me the syntax, A, B, C, D, and it has these different constructors, I guess that would be called. But basically, meaning you can call the same function with a different sort of set of arguments, and it'll do slightly different things. And then it describes what all these arguments are, these parameters are. So the first argument will be your x coordinate of your rectangle. The second is your y coordinate. The third is your width, and the fourth is your height. Now, if you do happen to put 5 in, then they're expecting that your last one will be the radius for all 4 corners, and then so on and so forth. Okay, but this is less about rect and it's more about the help system. So if I put in something else, for example, like frame rate, something like that, and go find in reference, okay, it'll tell me about frame rate and it'll explain to me what that is. Okay, so that's a handy thing to do when you get stuck or you don't know what you're doing or you want to look up some reference. It's sort of hard to commit all these things to memory unless you're using it all the time. So it's just handy to have a help system available. Now, for example, if you don't know what you're looking for, sometimes you just put something that you know will be there, say no fill. Okay, and then I'll go say find a reference. And then I'm not actually looking for no fill. I'm looking for something else, but I don't know what it is. Then I can just sort of click this language on the language menu, and it'll bring me up to the whole language. So the nice thing about processing, I mentioned it before, it's essentially Java. It's a high-level Java to facilitate design and drawing and such like that. And in my case, sort of interactive animation type things, a really handy thing. And they've done a nice job at making your basic palette fairly compact. I mean, there's quite a few things here, but in fact, they do a whole lot, and it's fairly compact. So you can, maybe 1 or 2 pages see pretty much everything that processing that you'll be using essentially in processing. Then you can look. They have them organized in categories. You can look through if you have something to do with files or string functions, date and time, operators. You can sort of look through, and most of the time they'll have some sort of example, some example code, tell you what everything does. Okay. And of course, since we're talking about help, we might as well just mention that the processing website, oops, oh dear. Okay, so this is my file thing. So if I just go to processing.org, and, the processing website is rife with loads of things that are very interesting. So they have tutorials that you can look through. And even though I've made these sort of tutorials, they're quite nice and probably are better ones to turn to. Examples of different bits of code. Okay, so that's the help system there for processing. Basically, you have some sort of something you're not quite sure of, and you say, "Oh, I'm not sure what that does." You highlight it, you right click, find a reference, or control click, or whatever it may be, and it gives you a pretty detailed description of what that item is and how it works. If you get a little confused and you don't know where to go, what to look for, you can just put in anything and then just go to language and then look around the language and search and see if you can find the thing you're actually looking for.